Here with Rav Yirmi Ginsberg, Sichos Haran, October 17th.
Great. I guess after the late silence, it can only get better, right?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
We have a packed
Listen,
room.
Rabbi Nachman does say,
It's a packed room over here. You guys can't see the audience behind.
I guess Rabbi Nachman's right, a little late silence is a good thing. Okay. Sicha Mem Beis, yeah? Massive Sicha.
4 lines.
4 lines. Let's see how many minutes we can pull out of these 4 lines. So if you remember, I don't know, this was already a few weeks ago, in Mem Aleph we were talking about Lev Nishbar and Atzvus. That's probably a long time ago. The difference between Lev Nishbar and Atzvus, although one could think they're very similar, right? Atzvus is usually translated as depression. Lev Nishbar means a broken heart. So one could think that they're synonymous. And in Sicha Mem Aleph, Rabbi Nachman already told us that they're from 2 totally different places. Whereas Atzvus is coming from the Tchol, the spleen, the lower aspect of a person. Lev Nishbar is coming from the heart. It's a broken heart. 2 totally different places. And Rabbi Nachman told us that it's Kedai, and we'll see again tonight, that it's actually Kedai and important to spend an hour a day, a Zman of his Bodidus, in the Inyan of Lev Nishbar. To proactively go into a state of being brokenhearted. Whereas Atzvus, Asr. You're not allowed to do that as much as possible, to be in a state of Atzvus. Yeah? We'll have to see, the current events now want us to understand, where we're holding. Atzvus or the Lev Nishbar. The person has to determine where his emotions are coming from. How would you define those emotions? If they're Atzvus, that's no good. Lev Nishbar, good. But even in Lev Nishbar, it has to also be understood that it can't be all day. If a person has the ability, if a person's totally broken, Lo Aleinu, somebody's family member was taken, you don't tell that person, the person's broken the whole day. You don't say, Rabbi Nachman only spends 1 hour. Like that's not the time. But we're talking about us, who are, far away from those current events, right, in proximity. So how should we go about, the avoda of, right, the pain that Klal Yisrael has suffered and maybe is suffering? So in Mem Beis, Rabbi Nachman says like this. He defines what is the difference between Atzvus and Lev Nishbar. In Mem Aleph, he said where it comes from, and now he gives a little bit more of a definition. So he says, Atzvus hu, k'moshehu bekas uberoges. It's like being angry. Bekas uberoges. K'moshe misraim u'mislonin alav yizbarach. Like a person is, what's misraim and mislonin? Complaining. A person is resentful, is complaining against the Kodesh Baruch Hu, chas v'shalom. Al she'eno osa l'ratzon. Because the Kodesh Baruch Hu didn't fulfill his ratzon, his wants, his desires. He didn't get what he wants, so he's angry and he's resentful. He's complaining against the Kodesh Baruch Hu. Says Rabbi Nachman, that's what Atzvus is. Now I'm just going to point out this. I'm reading it in a certain way now, but I don't even think this is really how you read Rabbi Nachman. But I'm reading it in this way. Atzvus hu, kamo, like a person who's angry, who's complaining and resentful against the Kodesh Baruch Hu for not fulfilling his ratzon. Let's just finish off. Av Lev Nishbar, a broken hearted person who keben hamischate lifnei aviv. It's like a child who hamischate. It's a hard word.
Sin.
So it sounds like sin, but the way they translate it, and we'll bring some other rayas towards the end, it's like pleading. Like a child who's pleading before his father. Ketinok, shekovel, like a child who's complaining, uboche, and crying, lifnei aviv, al shenisrachik mimenu, that he feels distant from him. V'ayim b'makom acher mizeh, there's another place. So this is the difference, the basic difference between Atzvus and Lev Nishbar. Now let's go back into it. So Rabbi Nachman says Atzvus hu, k'mo shehu bekas uberoges. The way I read it originally, which is the way I think I read it for a long time, is that Atzvus is like someone who's angry. Even though he doesn't look angry, right? The depressed person doesn't look angry, they just like lifeless. What? Come on, I'm sorry. Come on, what did I say? Yeah, that's how I read it. That's how I read it and translated it the first time. That's not what he says. So the first way I translated it, and I think this may be how people read it, he's like an angry person who's complaining and resentful, even though he's not saying it like that. That's what's going. Rabbi Nachman's explaining what's going on to the person. But I don't think that's how you read it. Atzis hu kemo mi shu b'kas broges. It's like someone who's angry. It doesn't say atzvus is like he's bekas, right? If Rabbi Nachman meant to say that atzvus is a person's bekas, it should say atzvus hu is bekas broges. Misraim or mislonin alov, he's complaining. That's not what it says. It says kemo mishu. It's as if. Meaning like what? Meaning like when a person doesn't get what he wants, he has a certain desire. He doesn't get what he wants. So person A becomes angry. Why didn't I get what I wanted? I expected it. I wanted it. I didn't get it. I'm upset. I have a complaint against you. Whoever didn't give him what he wants. Angry, resentful, complaining. That's the person who's Bekasa Barogas, Kimu, or Shemisraim and Misloni. Classic. Right? You have kids like that all the time. Right? They didn't get what they want. They expected it. And they get angry. They have complaints against their parents. Why didn't I get that? Why did you get that? Why did she get that? Rabbi Nachman is not saying that a depressed person is angry. A depressed person is emotional. An angry person is emotional. He is having an emotional reaction, an emotional response to not getting what he wants. His emotions happen to be anger, which then comes out in the action of complaining, screaming, carrying on, being resentful. A depressed person is also somebody who did not get what they wanted. So, a person is depressed, and now, again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist. There could be different types of depression, clinical versus... But let's talk about the classic depression. And atzas, as we've explained, doesn't just mean a person is like in bed depressed. It means he's... I need a better word. Depression is not such a good word.
Down?
It's like down. It's a vague, but it's a good word. He's down. Right? I'm not going to say he's al derech a droopy Jew. We're back. Yeah, we're back. It's what we haven't had Shiur in a long time.
Yeah, but just in general, like you used to say it like everywhere I go. You used to.
Yeah, I was in the droopy Jew, mode. Now I'm coming back to it. So it could be like a droopy Jew, actually. Yeah. He's droopy. This guy loves it.
I want to make you like a sweatshirt or something. Huh.
Don't be a droopy Jew. Do it. Let's go merch, man. Isn't that what it's all about nowadays?
Exactly.
Merch. Anyway, so you have this person. He didn't get what he wanted. Now he's not, for whatever reason, either it's not his personality. Some people don't get what they want. Not everybody gets angry, right? Not everybody gets like fiery. Some people are from the midah of Aish. You know, there's four elements that everything in the world is based off of. Aish, Mayim, Ruach, and Afa. Fire, water, wind, and dust, dirt, earth. Right? So you have some people whose personality is Aish, fiery. So when they're excited, they're super excited. When they're angry, they're really angry. But then you have people who are from the midah more of Afa, dirt. So when they don't get what they want, what's their go-to emotional response? Droopy Jew. Droopy Jew. Sometimes it's so bad they don't want to get out of bed. They don't want to do anything. They feel that the chiyas has left them. Right? Even in bad midas, some have miles over the others. Like an Aish type person, he at least has a milo where he's on fire. Even though he's angry, but if you could harness that energy, you can almost turn him into something powerful. The droopy, it's hard to, you need to give the kid life. He's probably has no life. There's no energy in him at all, which is what's going on, I think, more and more nowadays. You know, the kids, they're more droopy than angry. It's like video games. They're just like zoned out of life. Sometimes I've talked to teachers here, you know, in the schools, and they're how do you get, you come to class and you're trying to teach, they're partially sleeping. They're not that they're actually sleeping, because they're all like phoned out. They're like zombies. How do you wake them up? Hey guys, open the Gemara. It's really exciting today. It's going to be in Aramaic again, though. Like, how are you going to get these guys excited? Like, they don't care. Nobody cares, right? Droopy world, not just droopy Jews. Everybody's just droopy. So that's a difficult thing. But I'll go upon him. So you have a person who's not getting what he wants. So his personality is the emotional response is to be sapped of emotion. He's kemo shu b'kasa baroges, that he becomes emotional, and he also is complaining. Now, where is his, right? Kemo shu misraim u'mislonim. So where's a depressed person complaining? He's not saying anything. He's just depressed. Or he's down. Or he's droopy. He comes to shul droopy. Whatever, I don't know. Yesterday work wasn't so good. So he's been droopy ever since. He comes into shul the next day, he's just droopy. Now, by the angry person, he might say things. Complaints, resentful, some harsh words. But the depressed person's not saying anything. Where is his complaint? So, Lamashal. Or I say like this. Whether we understand, we don't understand, we like it, we don't like it, we say it, we don't say it, everything that happens in this world, Hashgacha Pratis. The Kodesh Baruch Hu runs everything. There's nothing to talk about. So whether you buy into that or you don't, that's what's happening. So whenever we react to any situation, every situation is run by Kodesh Baruch Hu. Right? Our Bechira, our Hishtadlus is limited because the Kodesh Baruch Hu defines the parameters. So any reaction we have is by definition a reaction to a Kodesh Baruch Hu's actions, whether we know that or not. Kid comes home from school, so not the best mashal, but kid comes home from school, and out on the table is some food, dinner. But it's not the dinner that he likes. So he walks in, and he gives like a sour face. He doesn't say anything. He just gives like that sour kid face, which we've all seen. Usually they're also verbal about it, but imagine he doesn't say anything. He just sour face. And the mother is watching him. Now then she's not in the room. He doesn't see her, but she sees him. How does she feel? He didn't say anything. She doesn't know exactly what he's thinking. He just gives a sour face when he sees that chicken. Now the mother spent time making the chicken. Kid didn't want the chicken tonight. Down. She feels bad. Because his reaction is affecting her because she's the one who put the food out. So even though he doesn't say anything, he obviously is upset subconsciously at his mother. Right? He's bothered by what his mother put out. Yeah, so it's like subconscious. He didn't say anything. But this is how humans work, right? She assumes that he's upset. He's definitely upset, so she failed as a mother. Maybe he's upset at me. So is it any different when we're going through life in this certain situation comes our way? We give that sour face, that droopy Jew face. Who's watching us? Who's watching our reaction? Kodesh Baruch Hu. And this is part of Amunah, part of Bitachon, but let's talk about Atzis right now. So anytime we go into that state, and Kodesh Baruch Hu not just read our faces, he reads our emotions. He knows what we're feeling. Anytime the emotion is down, right? And we're humans, and it's okay. We understand. But we're talking about a person who's doing this all the time, right? Everybody's going to have these moments. But if you're feeling that way and you feel down, then you're subconsciously angry. It's really complaining against the Kodesh Baruch Hu. It's really complaining. That's what I want to get to. You're complaining. You're not taking it like a man. I'm not saying you have to be happy in every situation. If something doesn't go the way you wanted or expected, that doesn't mean you should be jumping for joy, even though at the highest madrega you'd be better, but at least accept it. Be makabel. Accept it for what it is. That's Kabbalah's Malchus Shemayim. That's Malchus. That's the lowest of the spheres. But if you don't accept it, and you go into droopy drew mode, you go into atzvus, depression, sadness, not sadness, sadness is okay, but down, you're not even in Kodesh Baruch Hu's world. You're underneath, which means you're complaining and you're resentful against the Kodesh Baruch Hu. I think that's what it means. So he doesn't mean that atzvus is like an angry person. He's not angry. But he's a person who didn't get what he wanted, and he's ki'ilu complaining against HaKadosh Baruch Hu for not getting what he wants. I think that's what Rebbe Nachman means. Yeah? Here's what he means. Now, we have to understand is that why is it that the person's getting upset? Why is he getting angry? He didn't get what he wants. It's not everybody gets what they want. But you know one of my favorite words to talk about, which is expectations. This person had expectations of receiving whatever it is. Ruchnius, Gashmius, anything. And his expectations weren't fulfilled. Now, where does these expectations come from? Sometimes expectations comes from, well, I had it yesterday, so I should have it today. Right? I had money yesterday in the bank, so I should have money today in the bank. I was alive yesterday, I'm alive today. I was able to daven and do ruchnius yesterday, so I should have it today. And when you don't get it today, because the Kodesh Baruch Hu decided, the person gets upset, gets angry, gets bothered, complains. And I don't use the word angry, because we're talking about the person who's the ba'atzis. He goes down, which is, again, in a non-verbal way, complaining against the Kodesh Baruch Hu, Mitzrayim Mislanim. Or you have a person who has the expectations. Why? He thinks he deserves it. Why shouldn't I get that? That guy has it, and God, between me and you, we both know that I'm better than that guy. Right, this is where we start to cloud ourselves. What's that called? Gaiva. Other words for it. So my gaiva, I deserve it, created an expectation, which is totally illusion, dimyon. It's not real, right? Who made it real? Only because I said so. Then HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't give it to me because he decided it's better for me not to have it, whatever it is. And then I get upset because my expectations weren't fulfilled because I thought I deserved it. It's like this whole crazy dimyon. It's all created by our own minds. Because the root of this is gaiva, that's exactly the problem. Because the whole inyan over here is that we're not seeing that a Kodesh Baruch Hu runs everything. We're not seeing that. It's a pagam and amunah, really. Atzis comes out, it's a pagam and amunah. Sprinkles of bitachon, of course. Has to be. But at least to see that it was a Kodesh Baruch Hu who didn't give it. Right? We're very quick when we don't get what we want to just be upset and bothered. Who you bothered at? I'm just bothered. But if you would set the person down, he's bothered, he didn't get what he wanted. And you say, listen, let's put pause for 1 second. Pause. Let's get it clear. Why didn't you get what you wanted and expected? Because a Kodesh Baruch Hu runs the world. Do you believe that? Yes. Do you believe that a Kodesh Baruch Hu is the one who gives you or doesn't give you everything? Yes, I believe it. So in this situation, he didn't want to give it to you. And maybe it's even for your best. So although when you push play, the person might not be happy, and he might not even be able to fully be makabel that yet, because he still thinks he deserves it, he's at least aligned to the ends. And hopefully he can come to proper emotions, proper surrender, proper kabbalah, to makabel these yisurin, b'ahab. But if he doesn't even have the amunah, the wherewithal to understand what's going on here, he's got no chance. So if a person is ba'atzvus for the fact that he didn't get what he wanted, and it's ki'ilu he's complaining, it's really rooted in a pagam of his amunah, which of course is the major yesod of Rabbi Nachman everywhere. Yeah? Okay. And as I said before, just to make it clear, we're not just talking about big things. Adrabah, it's more often probably the little things. Right? The little things that just don't go our way. You miss a train, davening didn't go well today, You have to do carpool when you weren't expected to do carpool. Right? You weren't expected to do carpool and you have to do carpool. So what do? What's the first move? You blame your wife. Or you blame, the other parent. But is that even appropriate? Is that with emunah or without emunah? Clearly without emunah. Because if you think that this whole situation wasn't created by Kodesh Baruch Hu, then you're al derech kofer. Yes? So before we are so quick to respond with emotions, whether anger, some people go in the angry mode when they feel like they have to do carpool or they missed the train or they missed it. Some people go into the droopy, okay, fine, I'll do it. We go the other way, the other emotional response, depending on your personality or the situation. Even the small things, the daily grind, the little tiny things. That's really what's happening all the time. I'm not talking about the big things. No, the big things is for another time. Yeah. If a person would work on his emunah, strong, real, and right now we're not working on emunah, right? We're just talking about understanding. Emunah and bitachon for real, and all those little nuances of the day, where one goes into the angry, droopy Jew mode, he can mamish turn the whole thing around. It's such a different life when a person he lives with no expectations, which is very difficult to do, but Likutei you can live without expectations, meaning my only expectations is whatever God wants it to be, it will be. That's the best way to live, if you can live that way. That's difficult, you have to get there. Right? I have no expectations in life. I expect whatever God wants, which is what actually happens. So you're always right. Meaning, when I live with expectations, I want this, I want that, sometimes you're going to get, sometimes you're not. So you're going to win sometimes, you're going to lose sometimes. But if my expectations of life are whatever Kodesh Baruch Hu wants, that's what I expect. Which is emes, because whatever happens is from him. So then your expectations are always fulfilled. Right? Wouldn't that be an amazing way to live? You always have your expectations fulfilled. I'm not putting myself out there emotionally. Our usual expectations are tied with our emotions. Here I'm saying, my expectations are whatever you expect it to be. Whatever happens is what he expected it to be. Because God, he's the only one who can actually act on every single expectation he has. We can't. We could try. I expect to make money, so I put money in the stock market. I thought it was going to make money, and it didn't. I can't force my expectations. Am I saying that word too many times? Sometimes you do that and it sounds weird after a while. Am I there yet? Not yet. I'm almost there. I'm going to stop in a second. So if I surrender to Kodesh Baruch Hu's expectations of life, I'm literally living every moment with my own expectations fulfilled. Who lives life like that? There's no possible way to live like that unless you surrender to the one who creates all reality and all events. Right? And we're humans. We're not going to have to do it all the time, but we have to, more often than not, try to get ourselves into that position through our emunah, through our bitachon. The more you do that, the happier you'll be. It's a very simple mathematical equation. But we like to hold on to our expectations because we think we know better. And weiter, apagam and emunah. It all comes back. No. God, you didn't give me what I wanted. God, I know it would have made more sense if the toilet didn't overflow. Kodesh Baruch Hu, yeah? Don't you know that? Like, why would that have to happen? It shouldn't have happened. And the Kodesh Baruch Hu says, no, sorry. You can't fight. You can't fight against. You have no idea why things happen. And part of why things happen is to teach us to surrender to him. That itself's the biggest. Right? Okay. That was part A. That's what atzvus is, and that's what we have to fight against. Aval. 2 lines. Just those 2 lines. This is Rabbi Nachman talking about. It's not like 2 lines of us means nothing, but his 2 lines means pages and pages. Avalev nishbar. What's a broken heart? like a child who's pleading before his father. Like a child who's complaining and crying before his father. That he's far from him. He's far from him. Now, as we pointed out earlier, is a very funny lashon. Hamaschate sounds like chait. Sounds like a sin, right? Do you know? It's gonna be hard for you to. I'll just throw it out there. Have you ever heard that lashon before?
What lashon?
Huh?
What lashon?
Keben like hamaschate lifnei aviv. There's a Gemara, and we're going to see that it was already a Sicha that we saw a long time ago. Now, Gemara in Tainus says, the Gemara in Tainus is talking about Choni HaMagal. You know the mice of Choni HaMagal? Choni HaMagal, right? It wasn't raining, there was a big drought for a long time. And Choni HaMagal said, Kodesh Baruch Hu says, I'm going to draw a big circle, that's Magal, and I'm going to stand in the circle, and I'm not leaving the circle, Kodesh Baruch Hu, until you give us rain. Fire. Huh? What happens? Remember what happened? It started to rain. It started to rain a little bit. And then Choni Magal says, Kodesh Baruch Hu, I asked you for rain. I'm not asking for little drips. It's the Kodesh Baruch Hu. So it starts to calm down. All the rain starts to come down. Heavy. Choni Magal says, Kodesh Baruch Hu, I didn't ask you for such hard rain that's going to, mess up the crops. I want regular rain. Regular rain so we can live. So the rain slows down. Okay? And it rains. Shalach lo Shemen Shadach. Shemen Shadach, who was a tzaddik ador at the time, sends the Choni. Ilmole Choni ata. If you weren't Choni HaMagal, Gozrani lechanida, I would have excommunicated you for the way you spoke. How could you speak like that to a Kodesh Baruch Hu? Who are you to demand from Kodesh Baruch Hu, and then he gives it to you, and then it's not enough, and that's too much? I should excommunicate you. But what can I do to you? She'ata mischate lifnei hamakom. You're like one who pleads before HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And he, God, did what you asked. So you're pleading and kicking and screaming. Inappropriate. Yet, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you what you asked for. So how can I excommunicate you when HaKadosh Baruch Hu listen to you? You're like Keben Shu Meschate Al Aviv. This seems to be the source of what Rabbi Nachman is lashon. Keben Shu Meschate Al Aviv V'Osa Lo Ritzono. Like a child is pleading before his father, and his father does his will, even though he's like kicking and screaming. V'Alecha Kasav Omer, the pasuk says, Yismach Avicha V'imecha. Your father and mother will be happy. V'Sogil Yoladatecha, and the one who gave birth to you will be in a state of joy. Ad Kad the Gemara. So on one hand, it sounds like Shemen Shetach is upset at him. How could you speak like that in front of the Kodesh Baruch Hu? Should put you in Nidui. And the end of the Gemara ends off by saying, Yismach Avicha V'imecha. Choni Magal, you're like the child where the parents are happy with. The person who gave birth to you is happy. So, is it a good thing or not a good thing the way he acted? Nachman says in Sichos Haran. Look back. If you look one look back, you look at Sichos Haran. Nachman says, Tov ma'od. It's very good. It is very, very good if there be a person who can he can express himself. Shivchi kamayim libech. A person's heart is pouring out like water towards the Kodesh Baruch Hu berachim v'tachanunim, requesting, supplicating. Keben hamischate lifnei aviv. Like a child who's pleading and begging before his father. He's not angry at his father. He's not angry that he's not getting what he wants. That's not the pshat. He's not angry and he's not depressed over not getting what he wants. We're not talking about a pagam and emuna, and we're not talking about gaiva. That's the depressed, angry person. That's his reaction. He doesn't get what he wants. Because of his guide, his expectations, he didn't get what he wants, so either he's an angry person, or he's just a depressed person. And then he complains. That's the bad side. That's atzvus, kas. Here we're talking about leiv nishbar. He's pleading. He's begging. He doesn't have what he wants. But he's not angry about it. He feels disconnected from his father. And he wants from his father because he feels what? That his father's the one who can give it to him. That's why he's pleading and kicking and screaming. When you have a kid who's nagging you for candy, sometimes it's really annoying, right? So usually we tell the kid, take a hike. Because it is annoying. But if we be a perfect father, and we would step back for a second, we would stop and we would say, if we'd get our own emotions and our own midas out of the way, this kid has a want, and they're coming to me because I'm the only one who can give it to them. I'm the tati. They're coming to me. They're not running out of the house trying to find some other person to get the candy from. They're coming to their father. So if we have our own midos issues, then we get angry at the kid. Kodesh Baruch Hu doesn't have midos issues. So therefore we come kicking and screaming, but not in a way I expect it, I deserve it. Choni Magel wasn't saying, I expect, I deserve. He was saying, Klal Yisrael needs it. Like, you have to give it to us. You're the only one who can give it to us. He was broken over that. That's what got him to put himself in a circle. He was being Moser Nefesh because he was broken over the situation. People were it was a fast. So he's like the Ben Amasrati Lefnei, says Rebbe Nachman. Ki alo Hashem yizbar kivar karanaban, and the Kodesh Baruch Hu called us children. Mashakosef banim atem Hashem lokeichem. Hashem says, "You're my children, us Klal Yisrael." Al Kain tov ma'od lefar sichos v'tzarich lefar sichos v'tzaro lefanav yisbarach. So therefore, since the Kodesh Baruch Hu is our Father, what does every father want? Every father wants a relationship with the kid. If the kid has a problem, don't keep it inside. You have to express it. But don't tell the kids in the back of the bus, come to me. Part of our relationship is that the kid is in tsar, and we have to speak about it. And it could even be that the tati is the source of the tsar. And it could be that the kid is wrong, he doesn't understand the father. Or it could be the father's not wrong. Could be. The father's not giving the kid what the kid actually should get. But either way, that the kid comes to the father, and even in a way of pleading, even complaining, expressing the tsar, again, not out of a demand from gaiva and that kind. Because the tat is the only one who is coming from. Like a kid who's complaining against his father, v'tenuos shel chen v'rachamim. He has movements of chen and rachamim. One second. The kid's complaining, right? When my kid comes to me, he's complaining, he's flailing his arms. His complaints are annoying, and his flailing arms and his tenuos are annoying. Right? The whole thing's annoying. Get away from me. That Kodesh Baruch Hu is not, that's not the way it is. When we come complaining to Kodesh Baruch Hu, again, not out of gaiv, not out of deserve, not out of expectation, because there's a hisrachakus here, we're distant, I'm not getting what I think I need. Again, not out of expectation and deserving, but we're human, this is what I think I need, this is what I want. And I come with all the movements. Kodesh Baruch Hu only sees chen, he sees rachim. He doesn't see it as annoying. That's a leiv nishbar. When someone's broken over the situation, right? We're going through a situation now, right? Klal Yisrael is going through a situation. So what's the response? Do you see Yad Hashem or do you not see Yad Hashem? If you don't see Yad Hashem, then you might be angry about what would happen. You might be ba'atzos over what happened. Both of those responses are going to be directly against the Kodesh Baruch Hu. Whether you're saying something or not saying something, your response to the situation, right? Whether you like it or not, the situation was governed by Kodesh Baruch Hu. We don't understand. Kodesh Baruch Hu runs the situation. And therefore your anger, your response, your depression, your response, is directly connected to Kodesh Baruch Hu. You're complaining, right? But the same type of person, a person can hear a situation and be broken over it and pleading for safety, pleading for, right? The Lev Nishbar doesn't complain over what has happened, like the angry person and the depressed person. They're complaining over what happened, what they didn't receive. The Lev Nishbar is broken over right now. He's living in real time. He's feeling a distance, and he doesn't want in the future that to continue. So he pleads, he begs to come back to that. And a version from a Lev Nishbar could cry also. The Chiyas does not mean atzvus. The Chiyas means being real, feeling a disconnect. Lev Nishbar, broken heart. The Kodesh said, what does the Kodesh say? There's nothing more whole than a broken heart. Because that's being real. That's being real. I know a Kodesh Baruch Hu, you've done this and you're doing this. And mamish hurts. Mamish hurts. And I'm not complaining over what happened, and I'm not angry over what happened, meaning at you, Kodesh Baruch Hu. But I'm broken over this, and we have to change this. Not because I expect, not because I'm a bad guy, but because I'm a chonei magal. I'm going to make a circle. I'm just going to stand in that circle, and I'm going to daven to you until this thing changes. It's a whole different. But it's all from getting a clear emunah. If you don't have emunah, if the Kodesh Baruch Hu is not there in the forefront, then your response is going to be usually subconsciously against the Kodesh Baruch Hu. But when he's at the forefront, it's hard for a person. There are people. If I, again, like we said before, if I would stop, push pause. Situation happens, not a good situation objectively. You push pause before the person has emotional response, which is like 0.00001 seconds in between, right? The situation and the response, we respond very quickly. If you would be able to say, before you respond, just remember, Kodesh Baruch Hu did this. He knows exactly what he's doing. He did this. He has a purpose, has a reason, and he loves you. Push play. It would be a different response. It would be very difficult for you to be openly angry. How are you angry at a Kodesh Baruch Hu? Some people can be. There are people who can be angry at Kodesh Baruch Hu. I don't want to. But a healthy, from Jew, he'll be upset at the situation and that it happened this way, but he's not actually angry at Kodesh Baruch Hu. He's just sad that it had to happen this way. So that's what you have to do. To put Kodesh Baruch Hu in the forefront of every single situation, big or small. And then when we don't get what we expected or wanted, first we try to lower the expectations. But be broken lev nishbar, and it's very subtle. Be broken lev nishbar, but not be broken ba'atzis. And that's why Rabbi Nachman says that it's kedai for a person to go an hour a day proactively into a state of lev nishbar. The whole day should be besimcha. For 1 hour a day, who's going to do an hour? If we could do 2 minutes, it'd be great. But a person should go proactively into that state of lev nishbar and not be reactive, be proactive. A person should try to decompartmentalize all of his things that are bothering him into one zman and go to Kodesh Baruch Hu with that. That's the world. That's what Rabbi Nachman says. In Sichos Haran, and we're going to see a mitzvah. Maybe it's late now. We'll see you next week in Sicha and Base. No, we should only hear Surah Tovs.